Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming. Welcome to Method. My name's Adam Lowry. I am the co-founder and chief greenskeeper of Method. Method is a business that our success has been built upon sustainable innovation. We're a company that makes cleaning products. So at the core of that sustainable innovation is, of course, green chemistry. And that's how we create greener products that outperform conventional ones. But our approach to sustainable design does not end with what's inside the bottle. It actually includes how it's packaged, how it's made, and ultimately how it's delivered. The evidence of that is, among other things, parked outside in the form of that 53-foot biodiesel truck that you probably had to walk around to get in here. And it's also evident in our approach to sustainable package design. And that's what I'd like to address with you guys here today. In 2006, Method reached a milestone. We created the first custom PET bottle manufactured exclusively from post-consumer recycled plastic, PCR for short. In the 5 years since then, we have continued to innovate and focus on developing PCR technology to the point where today, almost every bottle we manufacture across our entire business, I'll note all of these made in the United States, is made from 100% PCR plastic. That's tens of millions of bottles a year that are made completely free of virgin plastic altogether. And so having achieved this milestone recently, this second milestone, and the huge carbon and waste benefits that go along with it, we like challenges at Method, and so we started asking ourselves a question, which was, what's the ultimate recycled material? And that's where our attentions turned to the issue of ocean plastic. We asked ourselves, what if we could take some of the plastic that is floating in the North Pacific Gyre and make bottles out of it? If we were successful, we'd be taking a piece of trash, and upcycling it into a useful material that could be recycled again and again. And more importantly, it could serve as a platform for communicating the real solution to humanity's legacy of plastic pollution, which is to use the billions of tons of plastic that are already on the planet to manufacture the products that we interact with in our daily lives. So I'm proud to announce today that we've done it. This is the first bottle that we know of that is made out of ocean plastic. We developed this in partnership with Envision Plastics in Southern California, which is one of the largest and certainly most innovative plastic recyclers in the country. And the process to come up with this bottle in many ways mirrors the traditional recycling process, but with a few twists. The first thing we do is we take plastic that's floating in the ocean and we regrind it, and we grind it up, and it looks like this type of colorful flakes. We then take that and remanufacture it into plastic resin pellets. This is the raw material that plastic bottles are made of, and then ultimately into a bottle like this one. There are a couple of special steps of the process that allow us to remove the contaminants and the dirt that happens to be on this plastic that's been floating in the ocean for 10 years or more, and to upgrade its quality so that this bottle is as high quality as a virgin plastic bottle. The next step in this process is to gather enough plastic to allow us to manufacture the bottles we need. This is a process we've undertaken already, and actually on Saturday we'll be working with several volunteer organizations to gather a lot of this plastic in International Coastal Cleanup Day. And then after that, we will be taking this product to market with a major U.S. retailer. Imagine the proposition of a product that is packaged in ocean plastic. For every one that you buy, you take 10 grams of plastic directly out of the ocean. We think that's pretty neat. But the point, of course, is not to clean up the gyre. The scientists that study this problem will tell you that the area is simply too remote and too large, and the plastic too small to practically clean it up. The real goal is to raise awareness about the issue of plastic pollution so that we can turn off the tap that is flowing plastic into our oceans altogether. As I've said, the solution is already in front of us. It is using the plastic that's already on the planet. Getting after that solution requires us to invest in infrastructure and industry that will allow us, getting after that requires developing infrastructure and industry around recycling and material recapture, and following the lead of pioneering cities like San Francisco that divert nearly all of their municipal waste from landfills. These are inherently local activities. And so that means that we can simultaneously create jobs in the green economy, as well as give innovative businesses like Method the materials that we need to lead us towards a more verdant and sustainable world. So thank you very much. At this point, I am going to turn it over to EPA Administrator Lisa Jackson for a few comments. Administrator Jackson.
Thank you.
All right, let me get it.
Oh, come on, everybody, give him a hand, because I think that's an extraordinary. Well, I just want to thank everyone and take just a few moments. It is wonderful to be here, especially on a day like today. I want to thank Adam and Eric and Drew and everybody from Method who's come out this morning and to help prove that it does pay to protect our environment and to conserve our resources. Method has recognized what more and more businesses are recognizing every single day, and that's that Americans want safe products. They want safe products that are good for their health, the health of their families, their children, and also good for the environment. But Method, you guys go guys and gals, go one step further, and that's along with selling green products, you run green yourself. You run efficiently. You produce most of your energy on site through solar panels. You deliver your products by trucks that run on biodiesel. A quick shout out to EPA's SmartWay program to help make that biodiesel go further and further. You work with your suppliers, and that makes them greener as well. All these practices help to save money on operations. I'm also happy to have Method standing with EPA in the strong call for green chemistry and water innovation in our country, right here. Along with spreading the word about the importance of green business techniques and the green economy, we need chemicals reform. We need TSCA reform. We've called for it. The president's called for it. We need water protections, which we're fighting to maintain at EPA right this second. They're important for Americans, and they're important for businesses who understand the tie between a healthy environment and sustainable products and making money. Now, we approach Coastal Cleanup Day, and so your cutting edge work now producing bottles made out of plastic recovered from the ocean is just one more example of how we can innovate our way to a prosperous future. This can be the story for the communities and companies across the United States who are looking for the next way to grow. Good jobs are based on innovation. And innovation is based on an important resource. It's the ability to think a different way about things we use every day. That's what President Obama has called for. That's why he wants to create incentives so that small businesses like this one can hire, so we can bring that brainpower and innovation to work producing products. That's why he wants to see more money in family budgets so that they can purchase products, and he wants to make sure that we create jobs, everything from teachers to first responders and construction workers right now, because we have to build our economy and we have to create jobs for Americans right now. We need to and want to see more success stories like Method. I congratulate you. But I have to say that right now the most important thing we can do is to pass the American Jobs Act and put more Americans to work. I'm really glad to be here to show how it can be done in a way that also advances that which we work for every day at EPA, and that's protecting the air and water and land that are so much a part of our everyday lives. With that, I would have the joy of introducing one of my cabinet colleagues, Administrator of the Small Business Administration, Karen Gordon Mills. That's a mouthful. Thank
you. Well, thank you very much to Administrator Jackson and to all of you at Method for having us here. It's a great pleasure to be here. I've known this product. And it's even more impressive to see the whole line that you've developed. Method is a great example of something that we all talk about, which is a green company that is turning innovation into jobs. As you know, we are focused right now on creating jobs here in America, and that involves innovative small businesses. Half of the people who work in America own or work for a small business, and 2 out of every 3 new jobs are created by small business. What you have right in front of you is the tale of our greatest assets. You have 2 young men who got together as roommates when they were 25. They are, as they tell me, from Detroit. They are from entrepreneurial families. Their families were in the auto industry as entrepreneurs, and they are taking, what they told me is they are carrying this entrepreneurial spirit on in a new industry, in a new place. And that's really the American story. And that's what the Small Business Administration and all of us, Lisa Jackson and all of us across the administration are here driving. In addition to what you see here at Method, there's a whole supply chain behind this. They buy and work with suppliers who are American manufacturers. All of this is produced here in America, in Minnesota, in Illinois, in Indiana, and those are jobs. So when they prosper, we get job creation all across America. So thank you, because this is really what we're out here trying to do, because as you grow and prosper, so does America grow and prosper. This brings me to what the President talked about this week. And you know, President Obama travels all around the country and visits companies like this. And I know he would love to see something like this.
He's welcome anytime.
He understands small business, and it's really in his heart. And one of the things that you see in the Small Business Jobs, in the American Jobs Act, is a focus on small business. For example, the first thing that you see is there is going to be payroll tax relief for small businesses. Payroll taxes cut in half. And we were just talking about what are you going to do with that money? Well, this is a company that has more growth opportunities, more demand, more pathways in front of it than it has the ability to pursue and the resources to pursue. So right away, they said that money can go to more marketing, more advertising, more suppliers, more inventory, and we know that that will create more jobs. That's how job creation is going to happen from the American Jobs Act. So we need Congress to pass that now so we can get the money into hands of small businesses like Method. In addition, there are benefits for bringing to zero the employer tax, the payroll tax credit for people who increase their payrolls. So that next incremental person you hire, the payroll tax will be zero on that new employee. For California, this could help 700,000 firms. 700,000 firms. We also have tax credits with 100% expensing for new equipment and a number of other provisions, all designed to put money and resources into the hands of small business owners. Because the President knows, and all of us know, government does not create the jobs. It is our job to give small businesses the tools they need so that they can grow, they can prosper, and they can create jobs, as is happening in this company Method. Thanks very much for having me here. And I want to introduce the EPA Regional Administrator, Jared Blumenfeld. Jared.
Thank you all for coming, and it's really great to have my boss, Lisa Jackson, here, and Administrator Mills. This is the first place they chose to come after the President made his job speech to really, you know, in the case of EPA, talk about the amazing work that's happening in this region, this part of the world around green jobs. It's happening everywhere, but it's really happening here. In terms of the enormity of the announcement today, the gyre of plastic floating in the ocean is now twice the size of Texas. There's parts of the ocean where the ratio of plastic to plankton is now 10 parts of plastic to 1 part of plankton. So this is a very large-scale issue, and I think people feel very depressed when they hear about it, and they don't know what they can do. So EPA is doing a number of things, and so is Method. One is to reduce packaging. How do we reduce the amount of packaging? Well, one of the ways to do that is to make sure that all the packaging is as efficient as possible, but also made out of recycled material. Another thing we're doing in the Bay Area and in LA is to set zero limits on the amount of trash that can go into water bodies. So the LA River has a zero trash total maximum daily load, the same with San Francisco Bay. So that requires progressive actions on the part of cities, but mainly companies are leading the way. So it's really fantastic to hear about this. This is the Coastal Cleanup Week this Saturday. Last year, California reached its 1 millionth participant in Coastal Cleanup Day. So this gives a next, when my kids go out this Saturday to Ocean Beach, people want to know that they're making a difference towards something. It's not just cleaning it up, checking something off on a list. Now they'll know that that plastic will go into a bottle and that bottle will continuously be recycled, and it gives meaning to something that already has value, but it really sends a message that what you're doing individually can make a difference. Talking of making a difference, the person that I'm going to introduce was started at DPW in the city of San Francisco, and he said, Jared, I used to work for the city, Jared, how can we come up with a list to protect our janitors, to protect the people that go into city buildings and save money, so that the things that the city buys are good for the environment? So we actually sat down and came up with a list, and now the city only buys things that don't have harmful toxic chemicals in them. And one of the things that Administrator Jackson has really pushed for is transparency and information about what is in a product. We would phone companies and say, well, what is in your cleaning product? And they wouldn't tell us. And we said, if you don't tell us what's in the product, we're not going to be able to buy it. Method tells you every single thing that's in their product, and no one should have anything to hide about what's in their bottle. So that transparency is a big part of what EPA is doing under Lisa's leadership to make sure that we all know. But it wouldn't have happened without the leadership of now the mayor of the city and county of San Francisco, Ed Lee. So I'd love Ed to come up to the podium and say a few words.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jared. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the border of Chinatown, San Francisco. This is amazing to be here and to join Administrator Jackson. Thank you. Welcome to San Francisco. Administrator Mills, thank you very much for being here. Jared, our good friend, and continue to still implement some of the ideas that he created when he was the head of our environmental department. Also want to thank Dan for being here. Leader Pelosi's office has been a great supporter of the work that we do here, and our own regional small administrative business office here at Region has been wonderful supporters as well. I'm here to celebrate and to announce this wonderful tribute to our City of Innovation. You'll know as you ride up the elevator right here, they've already got a motto on the elevator that you can not have to think dirty. You can actually think clean. And that, of course, has triple meanings in our city. But as we approach coastal cleanup this week, there are already articles and news press releases. I saw them all night last night. When you look at the way our beaches are looking now and the amount of debris that are there. And Jared is absolutely right. It's not just about cleaning up. It's actually creating, and I think we're at this moment in our city and in our country, we've got to do more than just clean it up. That's what I had to do at DPW for many years. I kept picking it up in every neighborhood until I realized, is there a way to prevent? Is there a different business model that we can actually follow? And when Method has come up with time after time, another suggestion, and this one I think is so timely, that you can actually take marine debris and reuse it in a clean way, whether it's developmental or whether it's packaging of their clean products. It's another successful business model, and it's part of the innovation that the city encourages of all of its businesses and the new businesses that we try to encourage to come here and share that innovation. So I'm really proud to be a city where Method is celebrating its 10-year anniversary, Adam and Eric. And so on that behalf, if I may, and of course, in concert with our federal administrators who are here and Leader Pelosi's office and Jared and everybody, to suggest to you that we're celebrating the fact that innovation, a new business model, but also an old promise of commitment that we would do something more for the future generations that inherit this city, that inherit our country, and that we do this in concert with the president as well. Because I know that the incentives that has been announced today and through President Obama's work is going to be very positive. It's exactly the kinds of incentives that we did to save some of the companies when they were thinking of leaving the city. Those very business incentives are going to allow companies like Method to grow and to encourage other companies to be as innovative. So Adam and Eric, on behalf of City, County, San Francisco, and in recognition of your great finds, your innovation, your ideas of sustaining our environment, and this being a great business on the edge of Chinatown, San Francisco, may I declare this on behalf of the City, County, San Francisco to be Method Day in San Francisco. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Come on over here. We'll take a picture.
I wasn't expecting that. Thank you very much. Yeah.
All right, congratulations.
All right, thank you very much. The real reason we're here is there's great food all around us here in Chinatown. But we love being in San Francisco, and thank you very much. It's a tremendous honor for us to be recognized for just what we like to do every day. Jared mentioned transparency in his words, and transparency is something that we believe deeply in. There's been some really nice things said about Method today. We appreciate all of them. But we certainly are not a perfect business, and we focus very much every day on trying to get better. One thing, very coincidentally, Eric, come on up here, that we've done is actually, Eric and I have written a book about our business model called The Method Method. And it actually comes out today. And it is the type of book that you write after you're not in the business anymore. But we believe very deeply that if other people can explore and see how we do things, both right and wrong, then maybe they can improve upon them, and maybe we can make the world a little bit of a better place. So keep an eye out for it.
Yeah, this is the best book launch we could have ever asked for.
I promise you it was coincidental that it launches today. I promise you that.
And when we started the company, a goal of ours was to have an impact bigger than just making our soap, although it is fine soap. And I'm just absolutely blown away by the guests that we have here, Method Day, and all of you. So thank you so much. It's just amazing that 10 years later in San Francisco, we've been able to have this impact, and we feel like we're just starting to scratch the surface of what's possible. So,
all right,
thank you.
So I'm going to wrap this up. We're going to go on a tour of the office and show some people how we do things around here. Just like to close by thanking again Administrator Jackson, Mayor Lee, Administrator Mills.
Do you want to do any question and answer?
Yeah, and go into the question and answer. Yes, thank you for reminding me. I don't do this as often as you guys do. So please, questions.
Hi, I'm Leslie Guevara from Green Biz. On the issue of transparency, is that bottle always going to be gray like that?
That's the plan. That's the plan. So when you take this type of plastic and you recycle it, it takes that hue.
And will you tell us when that launch is going to be with which company you're partnering?
We can't say which retailer we're partnering with at this time, and our goal is to try to bring this to market sometime early next year. But of course, it depends a lot on making sure we get the right supply of plastic and enough of it so we can make the bottles to launch nationally.
I understand that during the height of the recession that your company you contracted and you had to lay off some of your workers, and that was because the demand for green products was down in terms of, for consumers. But I wanted to know, how are things now? Are you hiring? Kind of where is that market now?
Yeah, I think we have several open positions on our website right now. We're very much hiring and have open positions that we're looking to fill. The business is growing. I think we're growing as fast as anybody in our industry right now, if not a lot faster. So yeah.
How are you looking at trend? When the demand for green consumer products is down, people can't afford it, or they're they're not prioritizing it. So
I think the demand for ordinary green products is down, and I think what we do is we create extraordinary products, and that type of product design creates a lot of loyalty in our brand that has carried us through the recession. So in general, when people try Method, they keep buying Method, they keep using Method, and so that gives us a base off of which we can grow.
Let's give everybody a chance for at least one question before we have follow-ups.
How about you?
Hi, I actually had one question for you and one for you, Administrator Jackson. Just quickly, I wasn't quite sure how you're going to get the continuous supply chain of the plastic, so I wonder if you could explain that.
Well, frankly, neither are we. Creating a supply chain for plastic that is floating in the ocean 3,000 miles from here is not something that's been done before. What the framework that we're using is there's a number of beach cleanup organizations that work here in California, that work out in Hawaii, that are regularly cleaning up this plastic. And the model is essentially just to intercept that plastic, which is normally bound for the landfill, and take the portions that we can use, divert that down to our recycler in Southern California and manufacture it. So really the only remaining step that we have to do is to get enough of the supply. We're not finding it that hard to get enough of the plastic, and it's just a matter of scaling how broadly we roll this out at retail with our ability to get the supply, but I'm certain we'll be able to do it.
And Administrator Jackson, obviously this is just one company of many that the administration is hoping to support with the American Jobs Act. I'm interested in support for utility scale alternative energy companies, which here in California have a huge market, right? So I'm wondering how the American Jobs Act will help create just a whole raft of jobs in alternative energy.
Well, let me remind everyone that the Stimulus Act, the American Reinvestment and Recovery Act, had $80 billion in grants and loan guarantees for the clean energy space. So that went for, the loan guarantees were really important to businesses that were starting up, and then a lot of work on even efficiency and user efficiency, and some on innovation, because we need to keep innovating. So as the president said in his speech, it's important to remember what he's looking at in the American Jobs Act. He said that's his first big push, because he knows those are jobs that are on the table right now. We didn't talk about the teachers and the firefighters and construction worker jobs that he's talking about, hundreds of thousands of them that we can restore right now in our economy. But it's also continuing the programs that he's put in place. And those are very much things we're defending right now, so that we don't lose the progress that we've made, to continue to push those things forward. Whether it's advanced batteries, whether it's other types of innovations, whether it's the clean car and trucks rule that are requiring cars to move much, much quicker towards zero or very low emissions. All those things are very, very important, and we're not backing away. And in fact, as the president noted, we're going to be doing even more in that space. On the utility space, EPA has very important rules. One, we've adopted the cross-state air pollution rule. The mercury rule is due in November, and as we speak, there are folks who are trying to roll those back or stop them from being finalized. Extraordinarily important that we make sure that pollution, which is what those rules are designed to stop, is not given an advantage over clean energy, which is why we want it, because it's not polluting.
Administrator Jackson, you're here talking about exchanging ideas about green jobs, and on this day, the Washington Post has a story headlined, "The Green Jobs Hype," and they're talking about how President Obama has made this a showcase of his economic recovery, and that the results have been underwhelming. How do you respond to skeptics who say the green jobs technology, the industry, is a hype? Where are the jobs?
Listen, I think you should expect to see a continuing strong pushback from everyone in this administration who knows better. We actually see those jobs in supply chains across our country. Everything from yesterday, I spent more than an hour at Recology. There are well over 1,000 people, might be 2,000 people, working in this area simply because the city has said we want to divert all of our waste out of landfills. Those are green jobs. You heard about the jobs that will be created because, and have been created because, this company says we want to recycle plastic. Then I went to Project Open Hand and met with the people from Luminaut who put solar panels and solar hot water panels on their roof. That work is continuing, and of course, public policies here in the city, so forward-looking, are helping it to happen. So yes, I know that there's some focus that because of one issue, people aren't seeing those jobs as fast as we might like, but they are there, and I think you should expect to see this administration answer those kind of charges very aggressively.
And when you say one issue, are you talking about Solyndra? Because that's now the poster child for failure.
Certainly, Solyndra has become a place that people are looking, and those investigations at what happened there will continue. But what I would hate to see is for us to walk away from the other companies who have benefited from good government policy, whether it's cleaner vehicles, whether it's clamping down on air and water pollution from dirtier energy sources, or whether it's all that grant and loan money that went to an array of businesses across our country that are designed to transition us. It is a transition to move to cleaner energy. It doesn't happen overnight, but it requires us to continue to move forward and not to roll back. And there are certainly a lot of folks who are looking to roll back. Okay? All right. Oh, are there more? Sorry.
Oh yeah, I just wonder is local points, because right now San Francisco is pushing for the payroll tax reform. So if with President Obama's Jobs Act is going to pass, that means that local is going to save this energy and do something else.
Well, we're going to certainly work in concert with our federal government to support any local business relief, if you will, because I know businesses will find ways in which they can make and create more jobs. And as was announced earlier, if they're already hiring jobs, they've got a good model to start. And at the bottom line for everybody, because I think it begins with a vision, as asked earlier, jobs are at the very end. People need cities like San Francisco to create those jobs. And the best jobs that are being created right now are in the clean tech, the biotech, life sciences. Those are jobs that are so well paid for, and they have sustainability, especially when you keep the innovation spirit that we've started here in San Francisco. So in addition to the tech jobs and the tourism jobs that we have in the city, I think the companies that want to move here also want to make sure that they can sustain themselves with all of the incentives that both local government and federal government can provide. And I think the federal government is doing exactly what the local governments are attempting to do, provide those incentives that work to create and sustain jobs, especially in these new industries where I think a lot of students, a lot of young kids are looking for the jobs. They want something that's sustainable, and they also want to be attached to something that improves our environment. That's what I hear every day. These high school kids that are coming out of our public schools, not only do they want good jobs, they want something that they'd be proud of. And I think associating themselves with a company like Method is going to make them very proud and be good citizens as well. And they'll be volunteers this Saturday, I'm sure.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.